Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Monday night panel. As usual, it's a pretty busy evening, this one tonight. So very pleased to say we will be joined initially by Shane Hewlett from the Community Foundation with some good news, which we'll come on to very shortly. And then we've got the standard Monday night panel, which will be reviewing our first points of the season. And then looking ahead to tomorrow's Carabao Cup trip to Cardiff, where around 1,800 are travelling again for that one. So fantastic away support for tomorrow. Just in news, first of all, for handing over to Vic, just in terms of other results the weekend, the under-18s First League game finishing a 1-1 draw with Northampton. And the women's pre-season concluded with a 2-1 win at Worcester City. So Mike Clark and Elise Clayton were the scorers there. So I'll bring Vic on. Evening, Vic.
Evening, Ray. How are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah,
jolly good indeed. SAS travel, as you said, huge support travelling to watch the town tomorrow. They're sold out, SAS. There are no spaces left on that bus, as are they for Oldham on Saturday. The first coach also for Crewe is full, but they will take a reserve list to see if enough interest for a second. Now, that one for Crewe departs the county ground at 7 a.m., West Swindon at 7:15 a.m., £23 for members, £25 for non. Of course, Crewe is a 12:30 kickoff. Is at Oldham on Saturday. They depart the county ground for that one at 6:30 a.m. and West Swindon at 6 o'clock a.m. Sold out for that one. And if you're going to Cardiff on the bus tomorrow, 4 p.m. From West Swindon. 4 p.m. from the county ground, 4:15 p.m. from West Swindon. So that's your SAS travel news. They're very busy. Great support in the early stages of this season.
Yeah. Thank you, Vic. Right, well, I'll bring Shane on. Evening, Shane.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I'll leave you in Vic's company.
Brilliant.
Shane, a very good evening to you. Thank you very much, Dee, for joining us and sparing 10 minutes. How did you do that then? Have you shoehorned 10 minutes into the day?
Yeah, I've managed to do it this time. A special guest, you see, so I thought I'd make a little bit of time for you before I go back out there and start coaching again in a bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not doing it whilst coaching. That'd be really would be surprising. Now, the good news that we mentioned, of course, Gus from the United States is on our panel tonight, Shane. So he'll be watching this, and he's a newbie in terms of a town fan. He's picked us at random and has been following us since January. So the gentleman we're going to be talking about, he may not know too much about for obvious reasons. So I thought it might be nice for you to just fill us in on John Trollope, MBE. Obviously, all town fans know about him, but it's always worth going through his history again.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to say? You know, absolute club legend. Record holder appearances for the club, only just hit now by Dean Lewington of MK Dons. If you connect them as two different clubs, we could argue. But also youth team manager of the football club, now our ambassador. But you know, it's very rare in life that you get one man that just dedicates his whole life to a football club. And you know, we're so chuffed to be able to recognise John for everything he's done over such an illustrious career. An amazing guy, you know, and obviously still supports our community foundation to this date. So to be able to commemorate him and to celebrate, you know, everything he's done for the club is absolutely huge honour for myself and John and everybody at the community foundation.
Yeah, a regular attendee of matches, of course. I mean, I'm old enough to have seen him at his pomp. One of the advantages of being in your dotage. I mean, he was a fabulous player, and people go on about wing backs now. I mean, he was miles ahead of his time, really, the overlapping fullback.
Yeah, I think he was, and I think unfortunately, I wasn't able to see him as much. I wasn't quite old enough. But, you know, the thing about when you talk to John, he's so humble. He very rarely, you know, if you ask him, you know, about his career, he'll just say, well, I gave the ball to Don and Don did everything else. But, you know, and he'll always tell you that. But ultimately, you know, for him to have had that career and to be picked by so many managers, you know, he was the fittest guy when he was 40, when he was running the youth team. He'd still be outrunning them. And I talked to so many people that played under John Trollope over the years, the players he's produced, the career he's had. So not just a superb player, but also a coach. And, you know, he actually took me through my coaching badges when I was a young boy and a young player and a young coach. And, you know, his standards and how he wanted you to become a coach and the respect that you give is something that I still do to this day. So yeah, it's a huge honour to be able to recognise him.
Yeah, you mentioned how fit he was. I watched him run the first Swindon Marathon way back in the 80s, and he kind of inspired me to do the one the following year. So he's an extraordinary man. Sean Platt, by the way, he says, "Hi, Shane. Hope all is well." And I hope all is well with you, Sean, because I know you weren't too well over the weekend. So I hope all is well with you. So the statue then. It is going to happen. It is going to be unveiled on the 23rd of August, our home game against Shrewsbury Town. Tell us about it. How difficult, easy has it been to put it all together?
Not easy, but it's been a journey. And the sculpture, Alan, from that actually was the main sculpture behind Don Rogers. He's been absolutely fabulous. So the statue's completed. It's been done. The plinth and the inscriptions have all been done. John Trollope, his family have given it the go ahead, because obviously that's always the worry when they get to see the statue and they don't like it. So they've obviously seen the statue now, and yeah, it's all set to go. We've prepared the area at Foundation Park, so that's all set. So all we need now is for it to be delivered. It will be heading from Edinburgh to Swindon on the 21st, and then unveiled against Shrewsbury at 1:30 at Foundation Park, prior to the Shrewsbury Town game.
And all are welcome to come and see that, aren't they? It's not a closed shop.
No, absolutely. Everybody's welcome to come and watch and to come and see the unveiling, And what we love about it is that, you've got Don Rogers that oversees just at Fan Park, just on the Magic Roundabout. And now we've got John Trollope at the other end of the ground. So we've got, two heroes that, that young generations, young fans will come in and we want them to know, what special guys both Don and John were.
Yeah, at the top of the show, we play that little video. And of course, there's a picture of that statue that Alan did of Don Rogers. And I think by common consent, it's a cracking statue. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he did a fabulous job on it.
Oh, he's amazing. I mean, it's incredible, really, how he does it. He actually said that he felt Don was more difficult of a statue to build than John, because Don changed so many times. So, yeah, I think, with John, he has got that chiseled expression. So he said he was a lot more comfortable being able to do that. But we're so pleased. Obviously, we've seen lots of images of it. Our chair of trustees, Kirstine Fraser, has been up to Edinburgh to go up and see it as well personally. So yeah, we're just super excited now to unveil it. And as you said earlier, supporters, young and old, we welcome all of you to come down to Foundation Park and see the unveiling. And it's just lovely now to get it over the line and to get it finished.
I know there are 48 hours in your day, but it's extraordinary, really, that I know. When it was being put together, Steve Mighton did so much work on the Don Rogers statue. Were there nights when you thought, what the heck have I taken on here?
Yeah, I think probably, yeah. The end. I've been very lucky. I've been supported by a great team, and John, Kirstine, and Alan, and Steve Mighton's been a real good source of for me of expertise where he's been through it. I think probably the biggest thing is Vic, is you worry about raising the funds. It's 100,000, so just so you're aware, we haven't raised all of those funds yet. We're up to 75,000. That doesn't mean we haven't paid Alan. Of course we have, but those funds have come from our community foundation kind of reserve. So we're still actively fundraising. We've got 8 of our staff doing the Swindon Half Marathon. Ironically, you mentioned it earlier, to raise more money, and we're always looking at fundraising ideas. The GoFund page is still going. So yeah, that was always the worry. Are we going to get there? So it was only at the start of the year that we really kind of in January we decided we were going to fully commit to this, and to get to 75,000 with the help of the Nigel Eady, the business supporters group, the trust, so many wonderful donations from fans, people doing fun runs. There's been so much, so we've been really fortunate to have got 3/4 of the way in such a short period of time. We're absolutely delighted.
Yeah, look, it's a fantastic achievement. So well done for that. And I know you went up Mount Snowdon recently, which wasn't as difficult as you thought it might be. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was the opposite way round, actually. No, it was interesting. Yeah, it was just before we walked, actually, I damaged my hip, so it was a bit of a trek getting up there and down. But we took up 19 supporters that had completed our football fans and training course. So they put in such a great effort, and we raised just under £5,000 from the Snowdon Walk alone. So it was a real journey. And for some of those participants that had completed, Football Fans in Training, which is our health management course, it was a real privilege. And yeah, we certainly will be going to do it again. I'll be brutally honest, my first idea was Three Peaks. Fortunately, I was talked out of that. So Snowdon was tough enough. We had 4 seasons on the way up to the top.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I was trying to think of the Welsh name to it now. I can't off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah. And now, of course, Snowdon plays for Swindon. So there you are. It's a nice connection.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So just take us through the day. 1:30. You don't expect it to go on more than 20, 25 minutes because obviously there's a game to come afterwards against Shrewsbury. But it's going to be a fabulous occasion. John obviously is going to be there. His family's going to be there. I assume Mr. Rogers is going to be there too. And any of the other ones from the Heroes of 69 that you can get to come along.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, as you said, everybody's welcome. Vic, you've kindly offered and I've asked you to compare, which is amazing, which gives me a chance to get everything organised, which will be lovely. And yeah, I mean, we know John's a humble man, and ultimately, I know almost that sometimes, I know he's certainly flattered, but he doesn't like too much limelight. So yeah, we aim to be done by 2:00, and then John and his family can come into the stadium, and then it's there for another iconic statue that will be there for fans long after us, that when they're asking who John Trollope was, they're all going to know. And it's just another lovely statue, memento that we've got at this football club, that of its rich history.
Yeah, well, I'm deeply honoured you've asked me to do it. So an absolute pleasure. The thing is about John Trollope, whenever you say about that 68-69 season, he always goes, well, I only played half a season. He's always very quick to point that out, isn't he?
Yeah.
An extraordinary time in our history.
And I think, when we look at John's contribution, I think it goes way further than the 1969, cup final, to have managed the club, the youth team, the players he produced and brought through. But even now, I mean, there's so many different occasions that he comes and supports our community foundation, our graduation events. He's always willing to come in and spend time with young supporters, older supporters, and share a story. So, it's just fabulous, really, what he's done for our football club. And we're very lucky. We don't have I'm sure there are lots of clubs that would love to have these iconic players that still are firmly embedded in our football club. So yeah, we're super lucky to have John, and to be able to do a statue for him and his family to see. I'm just really honoured, and I'm just super excited now about the day.
Well, Shane, thank you as always. Always a great pleasure to talk to you. And I always say this because I mean it. Thank you for the work that you do, because it's extraordinary. And I keep saying to you, I don't know how you manage to have 24 hours in your day. You must have 48. So incredible. Off you go and coach some more people. But thank you so much, Shane, for joining us this evening.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. And listen, I look forward to listening to the rest of the show.
Thank you very much. All the best to you, Shane. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The extraordinary Shane Hewlett from the Swindon Town Community Foundation, and what a magnificent organisation they are. Many people in Swindon will have been part of their coaching courses, all that kind of stuff. And we're having a great view of his ceiling at the minute. That's very good. Oh, he's gone. Lovely. There you are. So 1:30 on the 23rd of August, the unveiling of the John Trollope MBE statue. Be there. I think that's the thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we'll bring the panel on, and we've got some real diverse locations tonight for all the panel that they're dotting around everywhere this evening. So, good evening, Mark.
Evening.
Evening.
Evening, Rob.
How are we?
All right.
Good.
Good evening, Liam.
Evening, everybody.
Good. Good evening, Gus.
Good evening. Good afternoon from the US.
Yes.
Good evening, Declan.
Good evening, one and all.
And good evening, Annie.
Hello. Oh, got my camera
Hello.
on.
There you
Okay,
go.
I'll leave you to it.
Thank you very much indeed, Ray. What a panel we've got. We should explain. Mark Merriman is lounging at his conservatory in a very sort of loungy sort of way. Rob is not in his lounge, he's in his kitchen. Declan is in West London, not in Ireland. Anna is in the living room. Gus is in Chesapeake Bay. Dining room. Gus is in Chesapeake Bay. Liam is in Stansted Airport. So, what can I say? Thank you all very much indeed.
I'm at the Escape Lounge.
Yes, very nice. Where all the celebrities hang out. So very good indeed. Right, let's start the panel then and go through the bare bones of it all. Swindon Town 3, Cambridge United 2. James Brophy scored after 4 minutes for Cambridge United. Swindon 2 goals in a couple of minutes from Aaron Drinnan, a magnificent solo effort. Harry Smith with a header after a great cross from Joe Snowden. Darren Oldacre put the Town 3-1 up on 53. And then Sele Kai got the second for Cambridge on 64 minutes. And a great assist, I thought, from Finlay Munro on 53 minutes for Oldacre's goal. Because when you look at it, did he mean to hit that into the ground so it stood it up at the back post? I kind of think he did, because it's really clever. Anyway, we'll go through it. Mark, your impressions of that game, not the best in the world, but 3 points.
It was good from what I've seen. I wasn't there. I have to say, to my shame, I was on holiday in France and watching it via the ABBA and BBC text, which is absolutely excruciating. There's nothing you can do other than just watch as the score comes in or doesn't, depending on what kind of service you've got in France. And then when we went 3-1, I thought that was it. And of course, 3-2, as one of my sons put it, squeaky bum time. But I saw the extended highlights. Very good first goal. Harry Smith, a sort of typical header from a good cross. Nice third. And you think at that stage, perhaps we could go on and win 4 or 5. But of course, they had other ideas. And from what I'm led to believe, it possibly was a slightly fortuitous 3 points. But I think we'll take that because it gets our season off and running in a way it didn't do last year. We were 1 point after 2 games last year. I also noticed the crowd was very good. It was nearly 9,000, which is over 1,000 up on what it was against Walsall in the first home game of last year. So reasons to be cautiously optimistic, I think, as long as we don't do something stupid like sell Smith, which is potentially on the cards. MK Dons come in, apparently I'm led to believe, potentially. Got to keep him. So he's massively important to the football club in both boxes. And on to Cardiff tomorrow and hopefully a good occasion for nearly 2,000 Swindon fans.
Yeah, a Danish club's come in for him as well, as I understand it. 8,862. Not that this means anything at this moment in time, but we're 11th in League Two, played 2, 1-1. Goal difference 0.3, Rob. Means an absolutely diddly squat. Second game of the season, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was this time last year.
True enough. I was glorying in the fact that for 11 minutes we had positive goal difference, which seems like a long, long time ago as well. So unfortunately we didn't hang on to that. But no, it's 3 points. And I think Ian Holloway summed it up in his interview afterwards quite well, actually. I think he wasn't happy at all with that second half performance. And I understand why, because he's been pretty much putting out a team every game at the back end of last season that really went for a team in the second half, didn't he? And he was very disappointed that all we did in the second half pretty much was defend our own penalty area. It's not the team he wanted to put out, and it wasn't the way he wanted to play. So I get his disappointment, but I'm sure in the cold light of day, when he looks back at the first 2 results, he'll probably be quite happy he's got 3 points, to be fair. And I think that now gives us a platform, doesn't it? Gives us a chance tomorrow night to go and play some of those who haven't really had too many starts yet. Get some minutes in the legs of maybe some of those returning from injury, the Joel McGregors, the Billy Bodins. Hopefully we'll get to see both of those tomorrow. And of course, we then set ourselves up now with a couple of games against teams who are both promoted, with Oldham and Barnet. So not saying that they'll be any easier than any others, but obviously they're going to get accustomed back to league football. So it gives you an opportunity to go and get 6 more points from the next 2 games.
Ian's made a very good point, actually. We hung out at the end on Saturday. The strong wind didn't help. It didn't help the apple race at half time, I can tell you. I nearly got knocked over by 2 giant apples. It wasn't much fun. But anyway, well done to Rockin' Robin for cheating slightly and dragging it across the pitch. Liam, as we know, you're in an executive lounge at Stansted Airport. What were your impressions of Saturday?
I think it's funny. I texted Mark about it after the game and said about the wind having such an influence on the match itself. Really, and it certainly did. Again, it was like February as opposed to August, but the weather was really nice. It was good. I thought the youngsters at the back did all right. Walker Brown, who I've already christened Wilmot Brown, for those of you that remember EastEnders. I thought he played really well, as did Monroe. I thought those guys were very useful acquisitions, actually, the 2 of them. I thought the bench wasn't balanced, was it? It was very, very Ollie, wasn't it? One defender, one goalkeeper, and 5 forwards.
Yeah,
you know,
he likes that, doesn't he? He likes that, doesn't he?
You know, where was Ball, for example, for coming on? And I think that could have been, you know, I think he would be useful on the bench for that. But what last season, you know, Rob and Mark have mentioned this already. Took 6 games, didn't it, before we won one? Wasn't it Newport first game of the season, first win? And we certainly didn't have 3 points after 2 games. So let's be positive here. We're doing okay, but we needed Offerball on Saturday, and I really miss him. I think we missed his steal.
I think it's a very good point, actually. Yes, because I turned to you, Rob, didn't I? And I said, I can't quite put my finger on the difference between this season and at the end of last season and this season. And then, of course, we scored 2 goals in a minute, so I just shut up after that.
Just to finish on that, a 5-man defence, you see. You know, we needed we needed Ollie Clark in the midfield, not as a centre half.
I have to say, Ollie Clark was fabulous on Saturday.
Yes, he was. He was excellent. But we just need that steal a bit further.
Yeah, I think that was probably his best game for Swindon, I think, on Saturday. We should say the referee was Edward Duckworth, who, interestingly, was counting down the 8 seconds to the goalkeeper, which is the new innovation. The assistants, Kenwyn Hughes, Abbas Khan, and the 4th official, Thomas Stanton. Now then, the lineup. Swindon 3-5-2, Ripley in goal, Wright, Clark, Wilson, Brown. Wilmot Brown wasn't a very nice character in EastEnders, if I seem to remember. Snowden, Nichols, Oldacre, Kilkenny, and Munro. Interestingly, he got the only yellow for Swindon on Saturday. No yellow for Harry Smith. That must be kind of a first, wasn't it? They were substituted. Amin came on for Snowden, Mabete for Nichols, Glatzel for Oldacre, and Butterworth for Munro. So the whole of the midfield kind of got substituted, and then Drinnan and Smith up front. From Chesapeake Bay, then, live from Chesapeake Bay. Gus, what were your thoughts on Saturday?
In the most general sense, it was a good, hard-fought game by both teams. It was fun to see the teams just really working hard out there. We needed a win, and we got it. We didn't absolutely need a win, but, I mean, if we had lost, it would have put us in a big hole, and that's not where we want to be right now. The pitch looked great. The stadium looked great. It was a beautiful day. I mean, it's just a good day to play football. We were asleep for the first third of the game, from what I could tell from watching on TV. We had a really credible middle of the game. And then I don't know what it felt like in the stadium, but I was scared to death for the last 10 or 12 minutes. You know, I didn't think I was scared to death again, kind of like the first third of the game. Something that stood out to me was that we were really excellent on tackles. There were just a bunch of times when we just took the ball away from them. And, you know, you see that, but I think we must have done it twice as much as they did. It looked really good. Also, there are times when you can see we want to pass long. There's a guy who should be open, and for some reason, either we kick the ball 20 yards too far, or the guy you're trying to pass to doesn't know you're trying to pass to him and he doesn't run. We need to work on that a little bit. Passing accuracy, especially where there might be some kind of a breakaway. Also, I think it was mentioned before that we are 11th in the table right now, which so early doesn't mean anything, but we are ahead of both the teams that we played so far. They're both below us in the table, and we're higher than where we were last season. It could be a lot worse, and I think we should celebrate that and try to build it.
Yeah, progress is the word I think you could use in that state. This is from John, our correspondent in the north of the country. Would it be too much to ask for Liam to sort out some suitable background material at Stansted? It's also distressing when Rob has come second on the room decoration stakes. See you at Oldham. Look. Oh, that's very, lounging around in a bar in Stansted. Very good indeed. Very nice. Right. Here we go, Liam, with the Declan with the statistics, right? Again, this proves that actually statistics are complete nonsense. Possession, Swindon 39.9%, Cambridge 60.1%, shot, Swindon 9, Cambridge 10, on target, Swindon 5, Cambridge 4. And it always points to the fact there's only one stat that matters, isn't there, Declan?
Absolutely, Vic, and it's 2 goals recorded, or 3 goals recorded for us. I thought that it was a horrific start to the game. The defending for the first goal was absolute kamikaze stuff, you know. But in fairness, we settled into it after that. One of the guys there mentioned the tackling, which was superb. But I thought Aaron Drinnan was outstanding all the way through. Got the first goal, which was a brilliant goal. Could have got a second one later on. And I remember turning to the lad beside me and said, "No, it's a pity that didn't go in, because we just knew Cambridge were going to finish strongly," which they did. And we were very, very lucky to get 3 points instead of getting perhaps just one, had that deflected shot gone in with the last touch of the game. But need to be cautiously optimistic. It was, from about 20 minutes on, was an enjoyable watch. There was a bit of bite in the midfield with the tackles. It's great to see, as I said, Aaron Drinnan playing so well. I think he's like a new signing for us this season. Hopefully he can stay fit and continue to contribute as he did on Saturday. As regards Cardiff tomorrow night, I would expect a few changes. All right, a few lads to be given the opportunity to get valuable minutes into their legs. But overall, cautiously optimistic. We were thumped, was it 4-0 in our first home game last season against Walsall? And it was a lot different last Saturday. Very happy with the crowd level as well, 8,000 plus. And cautiously optimistic moving forward. We have a little bit of work to do, but hopefully that can be sorted out over the next few weeks.
Anna, your impressions of that game?
Yeah, the thing of paramount importance was the 3 points at the end of the day. Holloway summed it up really well in his post-match, which was that he wasn't very happy with the performance, and we could see that ourselves. I think the thing that stuck out to me at the beginning of the game was that he started with the same lineup that started off against Walsall. And you look at that defence and you think, okay, Clark and Wright are there for a reason, because the other three jointly had made before this season 0 appearances. I know Wilson Brown was out at Kilmarnock, I think, and Munro was at Real, some Spanish second division club. But given the dearth of experience amongst those three, I think actually we've done very, very well defensively. And I think if you look forward, whether those three will figure on the starting lineup week in, week out, I would doubt once we've got some other fit players. But credit to them. Wilson Brown aerially very dominant. What I think we're missing from last season as well is that centre back foray forward, and I guess perhaps Wright feels he can't do that currently because he has to be in the mix defensively to support those young lads. So in my mind, I'm thinking, who is that player that's going to take and run with the ball through the middle? And I know we're playing these long diagonal passes, trying to get out wide to split the opposition defence, but I still think we've got work to do down the middle. The kind of Jack Payne, Dan Kemp style. Is it Amin? I know Amin has been played out wide, mostly when he's come on. He wasn't spectacular when he came on Saturday, I don't think. And at Walsall, I felt that Amin coming on then meant that they were trying to pick him out to the detriment of the right-hand side. So we've got to be careful that we don't get lopsided. But could Amin fill that role, that runner through the middle? Because I think that's very definitely where I felt we were missing out. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to complain about the first 3 points of the season. Where we go kick on from here, hopefully it will be that base to build on.
Yeah, definitely. Butterworth, he loves running at players, doesn't he? I think Gus has mentioned the fact that this could be a breakout season, but there are thoughts whether he goes or he came on with 2 minutes to go and then got him. So I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see Butterworth have a run in the team, but we don't see. Mark, you at the end of last season, you said that Drinnan, if he'd played, if he was fit, he would have got us in the playoffs. I tend to agree with you, but that goal showed us what he can do, didn't it?
Yeah, it's massively important, I think, to Swindon this season. I think we saw the fit Aaron Drinnan in that great run we had sort of post-Christmas. He was so instrumental to that, wasn't he? He was integral to it. And to have him back and looking really fit and sharp and scoring what I saw was a really, really good goal, wasn't it? When you think of the work he had to do to get in front of his man and then take it to the side. And I think we underestimate, he's actually quite quick. And we missed that going in behind people at the end of last season where I can remember the Bromley game, we just desperately missed someone like Drinnan to get behind the defence and we just didn't do it. So I rate him highly. I think him and Smith are a good combination, and hope he can stay fit. Perhaps, given his injury, that he might be rested tomorrow, I guess. And I understand Smith's had back spasms as well, so you might be looking at maybe Bowden up front with somebody else, I guess, maybe Amin tomorrow, and see how it goes. But what I don't want to do tomorrow is to, underestimate this cup. I'm sure Holloway won't do that. If there's nearly 2,000 Swindon fans going to the game, he needs to honour the game, doesn't he? Make sure that we put a strong team out.
Every year we go through this. How long is it since we got through the first round of this? It's over a decade now, isn't it? Yeah. Which is ridiculous as previous winners of this competition. So you're right. I mean, it would be lovely to get through to round 2 of the League Cup tomorrow. More stats for you, Rob. Let's have a look, because you love this. You love stats, don't you? Total passes: Swindon 243, Cambridge 352. Accurate passes: Swindon 135, Cambridge 268. Corners: Swindon 2, Cambridge 7. And yet I keep on saying there's only one stat that matters. And so often last year we used to get like 80% possession and still get thumped. So position, stats, so what?
Not how many passes, it's how many important passes, isn't it? That's the main thing. You can have as many passes as you like in the defensive third and in the middle third, but if you're not putting the ball in anywhere near the penalty area, it's not damaging the opposition. And we did that at Walsall, didn't we? So many balls backwards and forwards across the pitch, never a threatening ball into the penalty area for us to do anything with. And consequently, we just literally had that one penalty and Paul Glatzel's effort at the very end to show for it. It was very little to get excited about Walsall. Whereas the one thing about the Cambridge game is you did see a little bit more attacking flair. There was certainly, as you said earlier, a lot more attacking players on the bench. But you could also see that they've now got pace on the break. I think Declan mentioned it earlier, or Gus did. The accuracy of the ball forward wasn't good enough, and that's what they need to work on. Because when you've got the likes of Amin, Butterworth, Glatzel coming off the bench, you've got real pace there. You can hurt opposition defenders, certainly in the back end of games when the defence is getting tired. That's the time when you need those players on the pitch. If you've got yourself in front, you've got great opportunity to get up the pitch and score several more. But we just really were more desperate with our clearances, weren't we? Which is something we weren't last year towards the back end. There wasn't that desperation factor. And that's what it felt like Saturday. It was the proverbial squeaky bum time, those last 15 minutes, because you couldn't see us getting out of our own half, really. It was only a sporadic break when we did. So it was uncomfortable watching, is probably the best way to put it. I think it was uncomfortable, wasn't it? And we were very relieved to hear that final whistle at the end, I have to say. But it does, as we've all said, it gives us something to build on, which we didn't have until much later on in the season at the start last year. And obviously we all saw what happened confidence-wise in those first 3 months because we didn't get those early results. So the chance now for them to really build on it. Okay, cup tie tomorrow night. We all say it so many times over so many years. Are we going to really put a team out there going to go and get our first win away in this competition for 10 years? Holloway won't take it lightly. Absolutely no doubt about it. He knows what it means to win cup ties. And I think in that fans forum at the back end of last season, he was given a little tap on the shoulder by Mr. Morfuni when he talked about cup competitions as well, wasn't he? He wanted a cup progression this year. So I don't think we'll see an awful lot of change tomorrow night, but I think we'll see the bench players probably starting and the players who they take their places of will be on the bench, I would suspect.
Liam, I know you're looking at one eye. Oh, sorry, Declan. Yeah, I was just going to get to Liam because I know he's got one eye on the departure gate. Are you okay for a minute?
No, I've been called, so I'm going to say goodbye and love you and leave you all now, if you don't mind. I said earlier I must be on the only Ryanair flights ever on time. So I'm going to go off and get that in a minute. Just to add to that, my vote of whatever it was on Saturday was that I thought Journey should be taken off. And then a minute later, he goes and scores that fantastic goal, and he could have got a second one from the crossbar as well. So what do I know about football? But let's be honest, it is so much better than last season already, isn't it? You know, we're disappointed that we didn't go away with at least a point out of Walsall, and we won 3-2 because there was a bit more character. And my final piece on this, and I'll leave you all, is actually, you know what, Glatzel and Smith at the back at the end of the game did a great old job, didn't they? They rolled their sleeves up and got on with it, and that's all credit to them and their love and commitment to the club.
Well, Liam, thank you very much indeed. Live from Stansted Airport. We'll let you go and get an airplane. Fly safe, won't you? And you know,
I'll see you all in a few weeks, everybody. Take care.
Yeah, pat Chris Kamara on the back for us as you walk past.
Yes, I will do. All right, take care, everybody.
Cheers, then.
Bye.
Declan, sorry, you'll be aware that Liam has to go. So yeah, you were going to make a point.
Yes, one bugbear I've got, Vic, and it's a general bugbear about football at the moment, is the transfer window, right? Possibly because we may be a victim of it before it actually closes in terms of Smith. I think, and I've always believed this, that the transfer window, summer transfer window, should be closed before the season starts.
I agree.
You do your business in the month of June, in the month of July, when your team starts their EFL campaign in August. That's your squad until January. The uncertainty around it, I don't think it's right, and I don't think it's fair. Now, people might say, you would say that because you're most likely to be a victim of it than successful in it, so to speak. But that's just my opinion. What does everybody else think about that?
Well, I totally agree with you. I think it's a complete and utter falsehood, to be honest. And we know it's invented so Sky TV can make their silly last day of the transfer window program. Yeah, it puts remarkable pressure on managers and clubs, doesn't it? They don't know they're going to have at the end of August, which seems to me quite daft, really. So I agree with you. We'll get around the rest of the panel in a minute, but got lots of comments coming in as well. So massive support early on, says Dale. Probably hit 2,000 again tomorrow, and with Saturday's game rising up towards that 9,000. Great to see the crowds back up at last. Ronaldo's family surely didn't approve that statue that time. We all know what statue they're talking about. Looking forward to tomorrow's trip to Cardiff City. Let's get behind the lads and get them through to the next round. We hung on at the end on Saturday, but the strong wind didn't help. The crowd was really good, says Nick, but sadly massively underestimated by the club again. There's huge queues for the Don Rogers at 14:45. Hopefully this won't put them off from coming again. It was a strange game. I thought we started slow, which goes back to the point you made, Gus. And the first goal was all from mistakes. But a win's a win, and that's what we needed from the game, says Anthony. Big shout out to Matt and all the ground staff. The pitch looked fantastic, though no more knee slides, please. Daz, St. George, thank you very much indeed, Daz. I know, Gus, you were watching on, obviously, but I mean, to see that pitch, it was magnificent. He did a fabulous job. What did it look like on the old box?
It looked absolutely beautiful. They were, multicolored, cut in different diagonals and everything. Just looked really nice. I noticed the grounds crew was out there at halftime fixing it, and then right after the game immediately ran out to to poke down the divots and everything. They're obviously working really hard to get it in good shape.
Yeah. So then, how confident are you? I mean, it's ridiculous to sort of talk about the season because it's only just kicked off. But from what you saw when you first started watching the Town to what you see now, what do you think are the main changes, would you think?
I mean, so I started watching right around Christmas. I started on December 26th last year, and I think we either won or tied 8 games in a row. So I thought, well, this is fun. This is good. We're really good. And then we lost, and I thought, well, this isn't any fun. Why are we? So honestly, I was in a little rarefied time period there, and the season, the last 5 or 6 games of the season honestly weren't that great. I honestly don't remember how many wins and losses we had, but we didn't kind of finish it strong maybe as we could have. But I think we've regressed a little bit from the best days of last year, but it's also very early. And there are certainly things that you can see that we need to work on. Just from an outsider view, and you can tell me why I am completely full of beans when I say these things. Missing a corner kick. We only had 2 corner kicks. So the first corner kick we missed by 20 yards. It went over the box or whatever by 20 yards. That's like missing a free throw by throwing it over the backboard. If this is something I feel like they need to practice this for half an hour every day after practice. The player who wants to be a great player will kick 500 corner kicks a day and get really good at it. And I just feel like missing it is almost inexcusable. I mean, assuming he didn't mean to do that, just kick it over everybody. Also, it seems to me, and I won't go on, but it seems to me that there are certainly times when a player will have the idea to have a cross. One of our players, be kind of down on the side and will decide to cross the ball, but one of our offensive players runs to try to kick the ball in. There's no one there. Do they have a signal? Does somebody yell "coconut" to let them know they're about to kick or like grab their ear, or to let Harry Smith and somebody know time to get in there? It seems like there's a miscommunication maybe 30% of the time when they should be talking. They should have some kind of a plan there. I have more unorthodox ideas, but I'll save them for later.
I really hope they do have a signal, a word like coconut to signal what they're doing. I mean, that's brilliant. So we'll put that to the club. Coconut, put it in now. And football would be much more fun with stuff like that in it, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a whole load of things you could conjure up, couldn't you? Just to reel them off. But yeah, I think it's, for me, that sort of poacher instinct is just about that. It's about the instinct, and I'm not saying that Smith and Glatzel don't have a nose for goal, but it's perhaps the Charlie Austin or the Gary Lineker school of finishing, which is you aim for the space. If your crosser is getting the ball in that mix, you hope that you're going to meet the ball in that space in the the 6-yard box or whatever. So a lot of it is about striker movement for me, and we do lack that, I would say. There was a Rotherham team a couple of years ago under Paul Warne, and I think you look at how they packed the box as the ball came forward, and they literally had 5 or 6 players in that box in advance of the penalty spot, and that for me is a great way to support your attacking momentum. If you've got players, if you get that ball out wide, if you increase the accuracy of that ball going out on the diagonal, and the ball is coming into the box, get some players in there to get on the end of it. If you've got 1 or 2, your success ratio is going to be much lower. So that's personally what I would like to see, but that's just another way of cutting the cloth as far as goals are concerned, because I think we will score goals this season. I don't think there are going to be many games where we either keep a clean sheet, to be honest, or we don't score goals. Famous last words, obviously, but I think we've got the players to put the ball in the net. We've got a good variety of striker. So you've got Smith, obviously, with his aerial power and just being massive. You've got Glatzel who can do a little bit of trickery down the inside right, maybe. Got Drinan, who is really going to blossom under Holloway. I think Holloway really gets him, and he gets Holloway, and that's a great marriage of coach and player. So we've got a good range of strikers. Tabor, who knows what's going to become of him, and whether he'll get some minutes on the pitch. But he's probably the nearest you've got to someone who's a good sniffer in the box, if he can recreate anything like his step 6, step whatever form. So I just think we're going to score goals this season. And if Holloway's mantra is let's outscore the opposition, that's fine by me. If we win, I'd like to win 4-0 all the time. If it happens to be 4-3 or 5-3,
6-5, 7-6, who cares? Yeah, absolutely. Tabor, you mentioned Charlie Austin. He's gone to Basingstoke, of course, and scored in his debut on Saturday. Got a penalty in a 2-0 win. So a new career for Charlie Austin down there in Hampshire. We wish him well on that. Yeah, Tabor, who knows? We don't know yet. Obviously, he's getting used to. I think the thing is, Mark, Charlie Austin will always say this: when you move from non-league football to professional football, your body takes a while to adjust, doesn't it? Because you go full-time training, and it's a different thing altogether, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he said that himself, didn't he? In an article I read quite recently, he said that he was absolutely shattered after training as a full-time professional as opposed to training as a part-time footballer. It must be hugely different. I think we're all sitting here hoping that we found another Charlie Austin, that we've got another one of those little diamonds in the rough that clubs take a punt on. And fair play to Swindon for signing him, by the way. I'll give everybody some credit for doing that. You know, we're taking a punt, but we're taking a punt probably for not much money when the guy scored so many goals in the last 3 seasons, about 150 or something. And I think Ollie's take on that is, you know, if you score goals at a non-league level, and you know where the goal is, and as Anna said, you're a bit of a fox in the box, a poacher type. It's not too much of a stretch to think that you could do the same in League Two, is it? You know, and if he could get his goal tally off and running, say even tomorrow night, I do expect him to get some time on the pitch tomorrow night, for example. That could be the making of him, because he's already scored a couple of goals in friendlies, albeit against sort of fairly, you know, I suppose lesser opposition, with the greatest respect to those 2 clubs he scored against. So I think we're all sort of sitting here thinking, come on, Jake, you know, let's rise to it and let's, you know, be the player that we think he possibly could be. But I think it's going to take perhaps a bit of luck, an early goal, you know, a bit of belief. I think Holloway probably believes in him, and see where it takes us, really.
Yeah, I think we all remember Charlie Austin, of course, got on his full league debut, got a goal on 3 minutes at Carlisle.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and never really looked back, because he was a natural finisher, and, you know, just as you say, knew where the goal was. So there we are. Lots coming in. So hi Gary, I think these young guys will come on. Bram Wilson, 19, look good in the air, quick. Munro, athletic, good. Good time. Best game I saw Drillen having a Swindon shirt. Another defender being released and another striker incoming. Whole pitch of strikers at this rate. Definitely need new defenders. A tall guy will do, but the amount of strikers we have considers scoring lots of goals, as Anna just said. This season just need to stop conceding early goals. Joe says new background for Mark. And I can't see Smith starting tomorrow, so may get a good run out from Tabor. Ryan Delaney, Rob, at the end of not last season, but the season before, you were calling out for a big lump at the back. Ryan Delaney comes in, is out for 6 months because of injury, does really well at the start of the new year, and then again isn't in favour again. So it looks as though he's off.
Potentially. I'm still not seeing anything that suggests whether it's fitness or whether it's just form that's leaving him out of the team and the squad at the moment. I think we'll obviously get to find that out if there are other suitors and he ends up moving on before the end of the transfer window. Totally agree with Declan's point, by the way. It's the most ridiculous decision in the world that we have to have a transfer window that goes a month into the season. Yeah. Again, all to suit the Premier League, not to suit the EFL. I think we all know that, as well as Sky. They can send all their young lads out towards the back end of the window when they've seen them train for the close season. So it's all done for their benefit. Nothing at all to do with us. But there you go. That's my rant over. You've got a situation, I think, with Delaney at the moment that if he's not getting a space on the bench, there's no point having him here. And I don't mean that in a horrible sense, but the man's a seasoned pro now. It's of no use to him to be out of the 18, is it? Let's be honest. If he's coming towards the back end of his career now, he's had injuries. If he's not going to get a space in the squad, then he needs to look for pastures new, I'm afraid. And whilst the physique of a man like that is absolutely what we need at this football club, if at the moment he's not the man in favour, then I would definitely be looking at it at the moment and thinking he needs to be looking elsewhere in the next 3 weeks. But there's such a young group of defenders, aren't they? That's the thing that really noticeable at the moment. The 2 wing backs look like they're straight out of school, to be honest. Munro and Snowden. They're so young, and unfortunately for us, quite slight, aren't they? Both of them. There's not too much of them, and that therefore puts a lot more pressure on those in the middle. Ollie Clark could do with being in the centre of midfield for games like Saturday, where we needed to be competitive in there. But obviously at the moment he's got to fill in and do a job there in the centre of defence. So I do think at the moment we are lacking balance. I think that's very evident. We're very top heavy in terms of forwards. And if we are releasing the likes of a Ryan Delaney, then I certainly would want to see at least one more defender coming in before the end of the window. But as we've pointed out before, we say we're top heavy at the moment with forwards. We do have McGregor, who's been out injured, coming on the way back. We do have Kirkman, who's been injured, and hopefully on the way back as well. So there are other players that can do those roles, but they've just not been available to us so far.
Colin says, wasn't Delaney injured at the back end of last season, fit for around 50% of games? He'll probably end up back at Newport, says Sean. And Sean also says, just to let you know, Gus, we do have a thing about not scoring from corners. Been going on for a while. We don't score many from corners, I think it's fair to say. It'd be nice to know of the accuracy of how many of the corners actually hit a Swindon player. I don't know what the accuracy of that is, but it would be interesting to know. You don't have a transfer window as such. You have this, what do you have in American sport?
So we don't have a transfer window in pro sports. I mean, there's trading periods and things like that, but they do not coincide with the active season of playing the sport. But they do in college football. I was going to mention this after you started. I don't understand your transfer window, but I get the concept of it being ill-timed, because the transfer window, one of the transfer windows in college football in the U.S., coincides with the second half of the college football playoffs. So there are teams in the playoffs that are about to go to a bowl game, kind of the end of a season for a lot of people, who then have their players poached away during just before the game. And we've actually had a number of instances recently. It's not really a transfer thing, but our transfer portal, but where coaches have quit just before going to a bowl game. Kind of the thing that you worked forward to the whole season. You get to go to the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl or the Rose Bowl, and then you get a bigger contract somewhere else, and you leave, and your assistant coaches have to take it over. It's kind of new in the last couple of years, and it's crazy. It's everything you worked for, and then you don't get any of it.
Wow.
You leave. So there's not a lot of loyalty anymore. Players are paid in college here now. So you can get a better deal.
Oh, that's amazing. I do know that sort of some baseball players have transferred mid-series when they play, like 4 matches. Boston Red Sox will be away at Florida Marlins or something, and they're playing for Florida Marlins one night, and then suddenly they're playing for Boston Red Sox the next night. It seems a bit crazy.
Baseball, they're definitely, you can trade, I think, up until the very end, you can trade at any time. You can't load your roster, just as you go into the playoffs, but pretty close to it, you can.
And the name of your dog, which is residing now by the French windows behind you.
That would be Dash. If you noticed me, I was petting her a second ago.
Oh, Dash picked up. Yeah, up went the ears when you mentioned the name. So there you go. Brilliant. Declan, Cardiff tomorrow night. I'll give you the card. They drew 0-0 on Thursday because obviously some games take place on Thursday night. They have a 3-3-3-1 formation on Thursday night. The manager is Brian Barry Murphy. Lucky to get a point, apparently. Trot in goal, across the back, Lawler, Chambers, and Bagan. A midfield of Pacquiao, Wintle, and Joel Caldwell. Tanner, Robin Caldwell, and Willock. And then up front, Saylor. So there we are. That's the Cardiff lineup. What do you expect from tomorrow night?
Well, first of all, just on Brian Barry Murphy, he's a tremendously talented young coach who has worked his way up through the lower ranks of the Football League and found himself at Manchester City, where he learned considerable amount over the last couple of years. He's the son of an Irish sporting legend, hurler and footballer in the past, and a good lad. What am I expecting tomorrow night? Well, a different Cardiff than the last time I was there. I was there once at the new stadium when Ireland played Wales under Trapattoni a few years ago. But the time before that, which is, I suspect a lot of Swindon people wouldn't have been at Cardiff since, it was the old Ninian Park. And if I'm not mistaken, it was like a cage for the away end.
Yes, it was.
So it's a lot different. It's a lot more modern, a lot more different tomorrow night, a lot more pleasant to watch football from. Hopefully we can put in a good performance and get a positive result from it, because it would be nice to get into the second round of the Cup and the possibility of a big Premier League team to play at home in the next round. But to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't be too upset if I didn't go away tomorrow night, because for me it's about Saturday at Oldham and then Barnet and Shrewsbury and those kind of games for me. I would be more interested perhaps in a good run in the FA Cup. I don't know what the rest of the panel think about that. But look, if we get a result tomorrow, I'll be as happy as anybody else. But if we don't, I wouldn't be too upset about it either.
Well, if we don't, we'll kind of go, oh, well, that happens every year anyway. So, but
Yeah.
I'd kind of, I don't know, I'd quite like to get through to the second round of the League Cup. It's been so long, 10 years or more. It's interesting, isn't it? The last time we went to Ninian Park, I think I'm right in saying it's the same day that Princess Margaret passed away. So that's one of the memories from that. It's a draw, Rob. Last time we went to Ninian Park, was it?
I think it was, yeah. It's a long time ago. Is it the
Yeah.
early 2000s or is it might even be the late 90s?
Yeah, and as Declan quite rightly said, we were in a cage behind one goal, if I remember
We
rightly.
were, yeah.
Yeah. Anna, what are you expecting tomorrow?
Yeah, my take on this is it's about momentum. I think Holloway will take it very seriously. I think he'll give some of those fringe players some game time, but he won't approach it as a a throwaway. So coming off the back of Saturday, I always think when we went on a Saturday, I always think it's nice not to have a game on a Tuesday because then you can enjoy the win all week. When you've got a Tuesday night game, you have to kind of start all over again. So I'm hoping that we'll give them a good game. That maybe they'll play they'll be playing perhaps the second string side and maybe not take it seriously because they're aiming to get back to the Championship at first tilt. So I'm kind of. And we're taking a lot of fans on there, so let's give it a good go. Let's try and build that momentum, put a really good performance in, and get some of those fringe players on the score sheet as well. So, yeah, over 2,000. I know we sold 1,700, but I bet it'll be about 2,000 by the time we all get down there. Let's and we may outnumber home fans from what I've understood. I'm not sure how seriously they're going to take it, but I want to see some momentum building. So let's at least put in a good performance and score some goals.
I suppose the thing is, Mark, you could say they've had 2 days extra rest, but Sean's made the point here, hard to say for tomorrow, not knowing what Cardiff will put out. And we don't. They might put their fringe players out for all we know. So it could be one of those games and we're all looking at team sheets going, who are they? It's what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right, Vic. I think it's fairly irrelevant to look at when both teams last played, Cardiff last Thursday and obviously us on Saturday, because we just don't know what teams are going to be put out on either side. And I agree with Anna. I think perhaps Cardiff might be looking at they're a Championship side at the very least with that stadium. It's a 32,000 seater stadium, and how many are going to be there tomorrow night? Well, history tells us with Cardiff and early rounds of the Cup, both in FA Cup and League Cup, they don't get many. I would think 5,000 or 6,000 tops, with 2,000 probably from Swindon. So, yeah, I've harped on about this a number of times, and I make no apology for doing so again tonight. I was born and brought up not on the bread and butter of the Football League games, but on Cup games. And the magic of the Cup when I was, in my early years, nights at the county ground, playing teams in the League Cup were absolutely fantastic, and the FA Cup as well, in the mid to late 70s and early 80s. And I want to get back to that. I think we've lost that. It's like we've lost our way as a football club over the last 25 years or so. We've not been in the Championship for a quarter of a century. That's not acceptable, is it, really, for a club the size of Swindon? We've proved again with the gate on Saturday that we're a club with massive potential. We just need to try and win tomorrow and then get a good draw in the second round and, not only make some money, but as Anna rightly said, gain some momentum. I'm fed up with going, we make jokes about it, but actually it's not funny, is it?
No, it's not. No, not at all.
For 10 years. That's pathetic. Come on, let's get through and let's play a decent side. I take Declan's point about, the priority is the league, and it is, because we want to get up. But also Anna's right. Momentum does breed momentum. If you keep winning games, you win more and more games all the time. So let's get through tomorrow. Let's give those 2,000 fans tomorrow night something to really cheer about and get behind. And then let's look forward to a positive second round draw.
Yeah, we have Chelsea.
Am I right in saying? So just it's a question for Rob, really. Am I right in saying that at least 4 out of the last 5, or maybe the last 5 seasons, we've had the first round's been away? Is that right? I know we've had a lot of away fixtures.
We're very rarely. In fact, the last time we were at home in this competition was COVID year.
Forest Green.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh no, Charlton.
Yeah, it's COVID year. So again, our home fans haven't seen a League Cup tie for the best part of 7 or 8 seasons. I don't think.
bonkers, isn't it? I mean, we all remember that night against Chelsea, don't we? When we full county ground, Jose Mourinho there with Chelsea and Torres scored for them, I think. You know, it's a great night. All right, we got beat, but it was fantastic, wasn't it, to have, you know, that sort of team at the county ground. It was fantastic. And fair play to Chelsea. They put a strong team out. The World Club Cup champions, or whatever they're called these days. But it would be nice, Rob, wouldn't it? I mean, you know, we're going to pay tribute to John Trollope. 69. I know, you know, us old people keep going on about it, but it was such a momentous occasion. And the sad fact of the matter is, nothing's come close in terms of national importance since, which is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we had that fantastic run in the late 79, 80, didn't we, when we got to the semi-final, and we'll always remember Emlyn Hughes and
doing that.
Good old Paul Bradshaw deciding to decapitate Alan Mays, and Emlyn Hughes telling him he dived when he was picking his teeth up from the pitch and things like that. But you're right. I mean, it's when the history books tell you that the one major trophy we won was pretty much past the vast majority of Swindon supporters' lifetime ago. It's, and Mark's just said, 25th quarter of a century since we were in the Championship, for crying out loud. So this has been a very underachieving club for a very, very long time. And the only way you can turn that around is by start winning matches, isn't it? And there is no better time than to start than the present. And we all know that tomorrow night, as we just said, we've got to go abroad for a cup tie for the first time in ages. Haven't done that for a while. So you never know. That might be a change of fortune that we need.
Yeah, we're off to the capital city. You don't have knockout cups in the States, do you, Gus? So you have the playoffs, I know, but you don't have knockout competitions as such.
No, I was eating lunch. I actually looked up why we're playing a game on Tuesday against a team that's not in our league, and I think you've all kind of explained it, and I get it. My thinking on this game is we have nothing to lose. I'd rather be us than them, because they're supposed to win, and they really have tough decisions to make about who to play, because they have to grade just right so that they beat us with using as little resources as they possibly can. I mean, if you're Coach Holloway, I think let's try something crazy. Any crazy ideas I ever had, I'd do right now. I'd put in Butterworth, Amin, and Glatzel to start, and I'd say, guys, I want you each to score 2 goals. Don't worry about all the passing around the edges and stuff. Attack, and flood the zone. Just go for it. And let's, and then, defenders, we need you guys to pick it up when we mess up. And, that's, in my opinion, that's probably going to be our best chance to win. And it may throw them up back on their heels. I don't know. The coach, you guys have been playing this game for 160 years, and I'm new to it, but I think I'd take the chance to try something new in a game like this.
I'd love him to say, I'd love him to say, just before they go out, coconut.
Everybody to the goal.
Onion bag is what the net's called in English parlance, I think.
What was that?
Get it in the onion bag. The net, the onion bag. Yeah.
I had a great night against Villa in the League Cup too, says Ian. That was a great night, wasn't it? Benteke got the winner, I think, didn't he, for Villa? And actually, Daz has reminded me, it was Cardiff 3, Swindon 0. Gosh. Saturday, the 9th of February 2002. The attendance at Ninian Park, 12,045. Hang on. Oh, evening, Vic and all. This is from Adrian. The government told us gas is going up. Don't believe everything they say. They're going down in April, up the town. We should explain, Gus. The gas is a nickname of Bristol Rovers. Yeah. So when the government tells us gas is going up, that's kind of what he means. But there we are. I'm sure Ian Holloway secretly would be delighted they went up, but obviously couldn't say anything in him being former Rovers legend. I think it's fair to say. Thank you all very much indeed. It's been a very interesting panel, what with Stansted Airport, West London, conservatories, all the rest of it. It's been fantastic. And Ray, we haven't yet discussed our new signing or possible new signing. He's not signed yet, I don't think. You have a great saying for him. Go on.
It wasn't mine. It was Andrew Hawes, deduced from his interview with Ian Holloway, stroked some rumours at the weekend, and he described that we may be signing a man of many syllables. It hasn't happened yet, but we'll wait and see. Yeah.
I mean, we'll just call him Prince, won't we? I mean,
I guess so. Yeah. And thinking aloud. I hope Gus hasn't started something with coconuts, because I thought celery was dangerous enough back in the 80s.
Oh God! Oh, yeah, yeah. There is a history of celery, Gus. When we played in the playoffs in what was it, 86, 87? The vegetable of choice was celery for some bizarre and strange reason, which I still haven't. And was used to great effect at Wigan Athletic on a playoff semi-final.
It's a song which cannot be
repeated at this time.
Let me think of what rhymes with celery, and then I'll try to come up with it.
Nothing.
No.
The second line doesn't rhyme with celery. You'll find.
No, nothing to do with celery. In terms of anyway, we'll just leave it there, shall we?
I think the fact that Oasis are coming to Dublin this weekend, we just got to roll with it, you know.
Oh, very good indeed. That's right. Some might say that was very good.
I apologise. I apologise.
Some might say that was very good, Declan.
Yeah.
We are.
Others might say other things too.
Yeah, put it on your Wonderwall and you'd be all right, won't you?
Right.
Anyway.
Before we lower the tone too much, I guess we better end it there. So thank you all very much this evening, and thanks everybody for watching. May see some of you at Cardiff tomorrow. And if you're not travelling the next couple, it's only just about a week to wait to the next home game as well. So thanks, everyone. See you all shortly.
See you later.
Bye all.
Bye.